Hey everyone, Kaylee, your friendly neighborhood hairstylist here, and today we are fact checking all of these viral videos about rice water. Let's go. Hello, welcome in. It's Friday. I have gone full athleisure just to take a nice little respite. If you're watching the day that this goes up, you're also watching on Friday, and thank goodness guys, it's almost the weekend. If you're new here, my name's Kaylee. I love to teach you guys how to style your hair, but I also love to teach you the science behind hair care every now and then to help you guys really take advantage of everything that you're doing when it comes to hair. Today, we are fact checking because I have seen so many videos on social media, and I bet you have too, of all these different rice water concoctions. I mean, essentially people are putting rice in water and they're doing a lot of different preparations, but at the end they're applying that water to their hair and claiming that it's going to help with hair growth, shine, and elasticity, among other things. Now, I don't take hair growth claims lightly at all. There is a wealth of misinformation out there from people trying to sell some snake oil to well-meaning blog posts. And I want to make sure that I am really basing this in science. So I went through and read as many journal articles as possible, and I'm going to be citing those in the description box below. So this is going to be a very science-based review. We're really gonna put on our glasses and be ready for some hair nerd talk, but I think it's really gonna be helpful because we're gonna talk about some things that are really good just to look for in hair care in general. So next time you're shopping in the store, this information might help you. Or if you wanna try out rice water, this information will help you. So I'm excited. Let's jump in. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I see a lot of DIY concoctions come across my different platforms, and I just usually keep swiping away because it's not usually that good. But this one caught me because of its history. The beginning of the game of telephone that has created all of these different social media rice water recipes is the recipe that the Red Yao women in China created that they have been using for thousands of years on their hair. And when we look at this community, their hair is all at least 4 feet long, down to their ankles. It is lustrous, it is shiny, and it stays jet black until they're 80. Like no grays until 80s. And that was interesting because I do understand there can definitely be genetic factors there that are really enhancing that hair growth and everything, but if they have honed this recipe over thousands of years and they are attributing that beautiful growth to it, there might actually be something to it. Now, I think it's super important whenever we talk about something that is a cultural heritage or tradition that we not just look at it and say, ooh, that's useful and fun, let me take that. But we take a minute to actually understand and respect and learn about the culture and history that's created it. And then if we've been invited in, we can participate. Thankfully, the Red Yao women have been sharing their recipes with anybody that comes to the village. I think we are welcomed in. So let's learn a little bit more about it. So broadly, the Yao are one of 55 recognized racial minorities in China. There are about 2 million, and they span over the continent of Asia, essentially over the course of a few thousand years through different wars and uprisings. They've really migrated quite a bit, and they are agricultural communities, so they tend to cluster. And each of those different communities has their own history and traditions. So today we're talking specifically about the Red Yao community and their specific traditions. They're called the Red Yao because of the clothes that they wear. They are hand woven and embroidered. It takes months and years to make in a beautiful red color, thus red. They also have super strong traditions around hair in their community. Obviously, the rice water hair care is a big part of it, but they also have a few things around like when hair is cut and how it's worn. For example, they only cut their hair once in their lives, and it's incredibly symbolic. It happens during your coming of age ceremony at age 18, and then that hair is collected and kept, because you use it later in different hairstyles in your life. So when you're single, you wear your hair on top of your head with a scarf over it because men are not allowed to see a single lady's hair. Once you're married, then the hair comes out. And a married woman's hairstyle is all this massive, like, twisted wrap around the head, almost kind of like we do with crown braids, but just a massive twisted bun. And they help create that fullness by using the hair that was cut when they were 18 years old to really fill it out, and then they secure it with just a comb. Like, they really said no bobby pin challenge who. A comb for all of that hair, and it stays up, and they work throughout the day, and it's there. I am impressed. Then, when a married woman has children, she gets her next hairstyle, which includes a little bun up at the front and a second bundle of hair, if you will, and that is all the hair that has been collected from her comb throughout her life. So if you've seen that girl on TikTok that's like saving each of her hairs so she can document like how many hairs she loses each day and stuff, it's similar to that. They keep it, they have it in a bundle, and then they add that in for their married lady bun hairstyle. It is very much kind of original extensions. It's beautiful, and it's been passed down through their culture for years and years and years. Their community primarily farms rice and tea, and I think it's very cool that rice and tea are both major ingredients in their hair water, and their hair is also washed in the brook adjacent to their village, which is already better than what we have going on because the water is a fresh spring. It's unpolluted. I'm assuming it's nice and soft, great for the hair, so they already have that going for them. In this community, hair symbolizes beauty and denotes longevity and prosperity. Basically, the longer the hair, the more luck. And generally within this community, there is a rich folklore of strength and empowerment for the women. And it's really beautiful to see that hair is something that connects you to your cultural past. It's something that connects you to the community around you. It's a way that you tell people about yourself. It's a way now of actually bringing money into the village because tourists come in to see the women and to see their hair, and therefore it's actually bringing economic expansion to their community. So it's just so intertwined. I feel like rice water is this tiny chip on this beautiful giant iceberg. So I had to talk about it for a second because it's so beautiful. I'm going to link some more videos down below if you want to learn more about these women. I was so enraptured. I spent an entire day just on that. Now let's actually look at the ingredients. The Red Ya women have been generous enough to share their ingredient mixture with the world. So let's take a look at what they've been telling people. I do need to note that each family has their own kind of like secret concoction and secret ingredients. So we don't have those disclosed, which is totally fine with me. Like, absolutely. But this is like the base that everybody works off of. First off, they have natural spring water, which is a fantastic base. Next, we have rice, which they actually farm on the Longxing terraces on which they live. I took a look to see what kind of rice is grown in this area, and widely it's indica rice, which is a little bit more long grain, and you would be looking for kind of jasmine or basmati. Next, they use pomelo, or I have a grapefruit. Pomelo is a citrus fruit that is a very close sister to grapefruit, so if you can't get your hands on pomelo, this is a very good substitute. Next, they use fleece flower root, which is also known as foti or hishu wu. I'm always doing my best with these pronunciations, but please forgive me if I'm not quite accurate. This is a traditional Chinese medicinal. You can probably find at a local Asian market or health food store, or definitely online. The next ingredient is tea bran. Because their village grows both rice and Longjing tea, they have a lot of bran discarded in the process of making tea, and that's what they use in the hair mixture. Unfortunately, in the US, it's not quite easy to find tea bran. If you can, definitely use it. I researched what kind of benefits are in tea bran and found that very similar ingredients and benefits can be found in tea seed oil. So that's what I'm gonna recommend for communities that have a hard time finding tea bran. Do not mix it up with tea tree oil, that is very different. And finally, ginger. So that is the history. Those are the ingredients. Now I think it's time to break down the ingredients and use the scientific journals and research that we have at our disposal to see what things we can definitely see that these ingredients do for our hair. Because clearly there's a lot of anecdotal evidence of how great this is for the Red Ya women. I would like to understand exactly what benefits we can expect based on what research we have on the matter. So very first of all, we have the main character, Rice. We're gonna talk a lot about her because main character. So I guess actually what I need to note first is that when we talk about hair growth, because that is one of the biggest claims here, when we talk about hair growth, there are a lot of factors that go into hair growth. You've got the nutrition that you are ingesting. You've got hormones that are going on within your body. That can be everything from stress to just your body's natural balance. You've got scalp health because that is where your hair grows. So you obviously want that to be very healthy. And then you've got your hair strength. All four of those come together to create good hair growth. Today, we're only going to be discussing two of those, scalp health and hair strand health. Keep in mind also that things that you can ingest that will help with hair growth do not always help topically. Biotin is a really good example of that. Biotin taken orally can do really great things for hair growth. Applied topically, it doesn't do anywhere near as much. And so we're going to be looking exclusively at how these ingredients react topically. And because we're talking about things that are edible, let's go ahead and take all of the ideas of what we have digestively for these out of the picture. Like rice, it's a starch, it's blah, blah, blah. Out of the picture, doesn't matter, we're applying it topically. Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm gonna start with hair strand health. I had a little bit of a hard time finding the information I was looking for, and then finally it clicked and I was so excited. First, we know that rice protein is between 60 and 3,000 Daltons. What the heck does that mean? That is the weight of the protein, and that helps us to know the size of it. Smaller, the more likely it is to actually go into the hair and have reparative properties inside the hair cortex. The larger, the more likely it is to really do a coating around the hair and give a nice smooth outer layer, which will help with shine, but also protection of the inside of the hair, which is going to help with things like reduced surface friction, because your comb is going to be able to go more easily and nicely through your hair, so less breakage from just friction working against it. But we also know with that enhanced protein that you get more elasticity in your hair. So that means when your comb's going through and it hits a snarl, your hair is more likely to stretch and boing back into place a little bit. And we want that because when your hair stretches and boings, it doesn't break. And that way we're keeping these hair strands getting nice and long. We want as many getting to the finish line as possible. The more at the finish line, the thicker your hair looks. Moving on to the next benefit of rice. This one, I loved this study. Honestly, it's not that hard to read. All of them will be linked below. Take a look at it. They decided to take a look at 2 different antioxidants. They used rice and then they used artichoke leaves, apparently. And they found that rice actually did a really great job of protecting hair against UV damage. I actually found this article to be so helpful for me because I'd had a hard time visualizing what UV damage means for hair. They were evaluating things like protein loss, lipid loss, loss of shine, the texture of the hair cuticle, the tensile strength or the elasticity of the hair. And what we saw across the board is that UV irradiation, or essentially like being exposed to sun, lots of it, caused damage in all of those areas to hair, but hair treated with rice showed significantly less of those damages, and in some arenas it actually looked healthier after having been treated with the rice and the UV than it was before anything happened to it. I actually want to pop up this image that they have of the cuticle layers just so you can see the difference. So you have the beginning one that hasn't been treated. You can see a little bit of cuticle kind of fraying up a little bit. That's going to mean that you're going to lose a little bit of shine when the cuticle frays up. You're going to have more tangles, and the hair inside, the cortex inside, is going to be a lot more open for damage. So now let's look at the hair that has 36 hours of UV exposure. Boom. See all the cuticles that are raised more? That's just from UV exposure. Nothing else was added to that. No like heat styling or brushing or anything like that. That's just from the sun. But then if we take a look at the hair strand that was treated with rice, boom, it is smooth. Nothing is frayed, nothing is sticking up, everything is taking a nice little nap and laying down. And that's what we want. That's how you get shine. That's how you protect the hair on the inside. That's how you keep it strong. Like, this makes me so excited. So based on this study, rice does great things for the hair strand, and those claims that people are making of increased elasticity and shine definitely have scientific basis. Rice is also full of amino acids, and there are some studies, though I do need to note these studies were done for cosmetic companies that wanted a certain result. So big piece of salt with this, but there are studies that have shown that when hair is damaged, it loses its core amino acids, and then when you put those amino acids back in, it re-strengthens the hair like it wasn't damaged before. So rices have a lot of the key amino acids you would need for that process, including cysteine, which makes up about 1/4 of hair's protein. So that's very important. So assuming that there was no bias in this study, we could assume that we would be able to replenish lost hair nutrients with rice as well. And that is what it does for the hair strand. Basically, strengthening, protecting, shining, and smoothing. All the things that we want, all the things that all of the shampoo commercials say they do. That's exciting. I love that knowledge. So I found a few studies that looked at the effects of rice bran applied to the scalp, and they were able to find that it can actually elongate the anagen phase of your hair. You might not totally understand what I just said, but it's very exciting. So your anagen phase is the growth phase of hair. It determines exactly how long your hair can get. So the longer your anagen phase, the longer your hair can get. Perhaps up to 4 feet down to your ankles. Your typical anagen phase is gonna last from 3 to 5 years, up to 7, and your typical hair growth for the average person within a year is about 6 inches. So you can do the math. If you have a shorter anagen cycle, you would only be able to grow your hair so long, and some of you guys might actually be running into that. Whereas if you have a longer anagen cycle, your hair would be able to grow longer. So there are studies here that show that it is possible for rice bran extract to actually increase the length of your anagen phase and therefore increase the amount of your hair output. Now, another study that I found showed that rice bran extract can actually really help in melanegenesis, which is essentially the creation of melanin. We know melanin is in the skin, helps it give it its color, but it's also in our hair and gives our hair its color. Enhanced melanegenesis would mean that we would have more pigmentful hair for longer. So hypothetically, no grays till 80s. I love that so far science is completely backing up this cultural tradition. Now, there is one caveat that I want to make to all this. Just really quick note. This one is Kaylee. Hi. I'm basing this off of the articles that I've read, but this is my conjecture. I think, given all of this, especially given that the last 2 studies were based on rice bran extract, I think if we want to get the full benefits of what I've just said, it's going to be really good to use brown rice, because brown rice has the bran already still attached on the outside. It's what makes rice brown. Once you mill that off, it becomes white rice. White rice is the inside of brown rice, in case you didn't know. But everything that's discarded in that process becomes bran, and that is where all of the nutrients are. So I'm gonna say that given that a lot of us are gonna be using this like a once-off treatment, like a deep conditioner, maybe once a week, I think it's a good idea to go straight for the brown rice and really make sure that you're getting all the benefits that I just talked about, instead of, I think it's almost a 1/5 or a 1/6 of the nutrients from white rice. I did notice that the Red Yaw women use white rice. My hypothesis on that is that they're doing it once to twice a week for their entire lives, and so it might be a little bit more watered down, but it is consistent, and I think that those benefits would still be available to them. It's just more of like a daily conditioner kind of situation as opposed to a deep conditioner. And I think because this is not going to become my daily treatment, I want it to be more of like a one-off really powerful treatment, hence brown rice. Oof, okay, I told you, she's the main character. We had to talk a lot about her, but wow! In my mind, rice is a starch that I really, really love, but I need to limit because health reasons. That may or may not be right, I'm not a dietitian. But for the hair, it does a lot. There is so much in it. And I'm very, very excited about all of the different possibilities that it has. I mean, not only in this mixture, but just for cosmetics as a whole. But moving on to the supporting characters, we've got grapefruit. Now, she is full of vitamin C, but vitamin C is also very unstable, so I'm pretty sure at home mixing this up in our mason jars, we're not gonna be able to stabilize it enough to benefit from that part of it. However, it is also antimicrobial, it is also antioxidant, it is also antifungal, all good things. It smells good, we're gonna need that. And it, plus the fermentation that needs to be done, is going to add a little bit of a cleansing property to it, so it is a very good co-wash. You are both cleansing and conditioning and treating your hair at the same time. We love. I am gonna mention this now. The Red Yaw women do ferment their rice water, and that is incredibly important. That is what brings out the vitamins and amino acids and proteins in this concoction. Like, that's what we need, and if you don't ferment it, you are not getting all of the goodness. So, PSA. Okay, tea oil, not to be confused with tea tree oil. Very different things. This one has very similar benefits to rice. You get protection from UV damage, we love. We get increased elasticity, it's antimicrobial, and you know, it's moisturizing. It's got some lipids in there. Your hair loves lipids. We got it. The dark horse that nobody saw coming, the girl that was kind of cute on night 1 but didn't get a lot of screen time and then is suddenly the front runner in the season of The Bachelor, Foti root. And this is, I've already mentioned, very popular in Chinese medicine. I found some really exciting studies on this one. Buckle the heck up. There is strong evidence for enhancing hair growth. You wanna know why? You wanna know why? I'm so excited about this. It induces the anagen phase. I find that incredibly exciting, but the study also showed that it increased the number and size of hair follicles, which is also great. So more hair, thicker hair. Whew, those are big claims. And so we've seen it in one study in precisely ideal conditions. We're gonna be doing this at home, concocting it ourselves. So let's not go too crazy with the expectations, but there is some scientific basis for awesomeness there. And finally, we have ginger. I thought this one was gonna go great. This one is kind of known to be a good topical hair growth stimulant. Oh boy, was I wrong. Found a study that decided to check it for hair growth stimulus, and they took gingerol 6, which is like the key ingredient in ginger, and found that not only does it not stimulate hair growth, it actually inhibits hair growth. The conclusion of the study was that it should be researched more as a hair remover because there is a possibility that it would be good for that and could then be used in products to remove hair. So this is getting nowhere near my rice water. Like, heck no, tech no, we are not putting that on my head. Nope, not even a little bit. I'm gonna make wellness shots with that. Not putting it in my rice water. Ooh, guys, that was so much, but I am really excited about what I found. And I'm very, very excited about this. But as far as fact checking TikToks specifically, I have some things to say. First of all, I didn't see a lot of people calling out the Red Yao tradition behind rice water, and I would love to see more of that. That's why I spent some time on it in my video to kind of disseminate it out to the internet so more people can talk about this amazing culture beyond even just what we're able to do with rice water. But also, I did notice that in a lot of these videos, it was kind of like a game of telephone. Like, we had the original recipe and then it kind of morphed over time to, like, over here we've got somebody putting rice and water in a mason jar, shaking it up and dumping it on their head. All completely well-intentioned, just a very good example of things that can happen on the internet. So some of them were a little bit more accurate to the original recipe than others, and therefore more accurate to the claims than others. But overall, when we take it back and we look at the actual traditional method of preparation, there is a lot of scientific basis for it and for the claims behind it. So I find that really, really exciting and really, really promising. So hate to do this to you, but I feel like we've already talked a whole lot in today's video. If you're like me, you're feeling a little dizzy right now from all the information. And so I'm gonna come back in part 2 and I'm going to show you how I put this recipe together and trying it out on my hair and give you just the experiential feedback on how it goes. If you have any questions after this video, please leave them in the comments. I'll incorporate it into that video so I can make sure we hit as many points as we need to over the course of this little tiny mini series, because I think there might be a part 3 where I show you like the cumulative results of using it several times. Because I want to use it now. I'm very, very, very excited at this point. With that said, I think we are about at the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button. Help support my channel, help support all the hours of research that went into this video. Maybe share it with a friend who needs to know a little bit more about hair growth or who can try the rice water method with you. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. We do so many fun things here. We style our hair, we learn about facts of hair, we review products. It's a great time. Click the subscribe button, join the Braidaholic family here on Kaylee Melissa. And of course, every single one of you can hit that bell icon to be notified every time I post a new video. But that's it for today. Whether you're old or new or a casual lurker, thank you for spending time with me, and I'll see you in my next video. Mwah! Bye!
You are obligated to tell the people that that is my hoodie because it's my favorite.
This is Anna Laura's favorite hoodie. This is Anna Laura's favorite pullover.
It is.
And she's allowing me graciously to wear it today. Thank you, sister.
Because I'm the best sister ever.